Hi everyone, my name is Robin Kerber and I'm the Farm and Seed to School Coordinator here at the Maine Department of Education Child Nutrition. And I'm going to be demonstrating how to make one of our new Harvest of the Month recipes for simple roasted tomato sauce. And this is a great one to do this time of year. It's early September. We have beautiful local tomatoes that are in season. And it's a fun one to use a variety of tomatoes. You can pretty much use any kind you want. I'm going to be sticking with, we've got some lovely Roma or plum tomatoes. These are excellent sauce tomatoes. And then I have this big beefsteak tomato. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm just going to chop off the ends of the tomatoes. And on this bigger one, just kind of take a wedge out where that core is. And this is a really great tomato sauce because we're actually going to roast our tomatoes with a little bit of olive oil in a really hot oven. And then we're going to add some more aromatics, roast it a little bit longer, blend it all together. So you have like a really, really rich roasted tomato flavor as opposed to just doing it all, cooking it all right on the stove top, which is fine too, but this one is really awesome. So I'm going to just slice all of these kind of rough, but also keeping them all the same width, which is about 3/4 of an inch. Just slicing them, and these Roma tomatoes in particular, you can see they're almost dry. There's very little seeds in them, which makes a really great sauce tomato because if they're really seedy, really watery, that's just going to result in a watery sauce. You're going to have to cook it down longer. These tomatoes are really designed for a nice, thick tomato sauce. So, as I slice them, I'm going to make more room on my cutting board. And I've just got this big hotel pan. I think I'm probably going to do all of these tomatoes in the one hotel pan. They're going to be a little crowded, but that's perfectly fine. I think tomatoes are kind of like the perfect local Maine item because you can really never have too many of them, and they hold up so well, canned, frozen, processed, whatever. If you have a ton in your garden, there's really no such thing as too many tomatoes. And this sauce in particular that we're making today in your school kitchens, you could make a huge batch of it, and you can put it in Ziploc freezer bags, put it in the freezer, and use it well into the winter. So I've got my tomatoes here. Compost the ends, kind of spread them out, and then I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of an olive oil. Good. Give that a mix just to coat them all. Like I said, they're going in a really hot oven. They're going in a 450-degree oven. Initially for 45 minutes. Or until they've broken down quite a bit. And then I've got a tablespoon of sugar here. So when you're making homemade tomato sauce, there's always some sort of sweetener. You could use honey, maple syrup, cane sugar. This is just a regular white granulated sugar. Everyone's got that in their pantries. And you do need that sugar to kind of balance out some of the acidity in the tomatoes. So don't think that you're going to have like a sweet candy tasting tomato sauce. It's all going to come together nicely. So those are our tomatoes. I'm going to throw those into my oven. It's ready to go. And I'm going to check back in about 45 minutes and see what they look like. So I just pulled the tomatoes from the oven. They are nice and soft. They're starting to break down. Some of them are starting to brown up a little bit. And the next step is we want to cook down our garlic. So I thinly sliced a bunch of fresh garlic cloves. I'm going to add those right in. And I'm not worried about my knife skills here. I'm not worried about the tomatoes being different shapes and sizes or the garlic, because after this is all done cooking, we're gonna blend it. So imperfection is fine. That's good. I'm gonna throw that back in the oven for a few more minutes, and then I'm going to mix in some more seasoning, cook it for another 5 minutes, pull it out, and we're gonna finish our sauce. And it's starting to smell really good in here. So our tomatoes are done cooking with the garlic. It's nicely softened up. Smells absolutely amazing in here. And you can see that they really have cooked down quite a bit. There wasn't a lot of juice or seeds in those tomatoes to begin with, but most of that has cooked out. So we are going to carefully, because this is hot, straight from a really hot oven, we are going to put it into our food processor. Alternatively, if you had a whole big batch of this, you could put it into a big bowl or a big pot, and you could use a blender, hand blender like that. So, there we go. And then I've got some seasoning here. So I've got some salt and pepper, some dried Italian herbs, and some fennel, which adds a nice kind of Italian flavoring to it. A little bit of a unique flavor. And I'm going to blend it. Scrape down the sides a bit. And this is really just like a personal preference, or depending on what you're going to use it for, how much you want to puree it. I like my tomato sauce to be like a little bit on the chunky side. I like to not have it be totally pureed like baby food, but once again, it depends on what you're going to be using it for. So a little bit longer. That should do it. Smells so good. And that is done. And so the only other thing you want to do, you want to taste it, see if it needs any more salt and pepper. And then I like to take some fresh basil here. This is just from a local farm. And you can wash it, chop it up, and throw it in there at the end. And it's going to add like a real nice herby, fresh flavor. But that's it. That's our Harvest of the Month recipe for a roasted tomato sauce.